It's Grugs of Legion Tactical Cutlery coming at you with a Legion Live Norse edition. So, just going to wait for a few people, but basically, I love anything historical with Norsemen or the Viking Age. I think it's a kind of a crazy time, and one of my favorite things about that time were their weapons. Okay, and I'm just fascinated by them, and I have a reproduction sax knife that I purchased from somebody on Etsy in Germany, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I want to go over the specs of it, and I also want to go over a couple of websites that I think is pretty interesting in case you guys are history fans of Vikings and stuff like that. Hey, Crispy Critter, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. So if you guys like anything Viking or Norse, I got a couple of websites I want to share. First is the website where I purchased this knife a few years ago. They've since then expanded their line of sax knives. They have broken back sax knives. They have kitchen knife sets and kits. Very, very, very old world, with obviously the modern build to it. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to hop on. And then we will get started with the specs, and I'll do a close-up, and then I want to show you those websites. But I had an opportunity to do a Legion Live, and this is what I wanted to do. I know I've been showing a lot of swords. Hey, Dwayne, how you doing? I've been showing a lot of swords lately, and I figure perfect. I'm going to be doing a lot of Legion Lives. I'm going to show off some of those swords and other Norse or Viking type weapons. And I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to show these off and show you guys what I have in my my collection. So. Before we get started, as always, I just had to go grab a piece of paper. That's why the pause with the specs. Before we get started, you guys, let me know what is in your pocket. I am carrying my very simple and effective cold steel triad lock click and cut. Let me know what you guys are carrying. All right, cool. All right, so carrying a Best Tech. Nice, very nice, Crispy Critter, very nice. So those of you who have the opportunity to join, thank you very much. If not, let me know in the comments below after this video has been posted. But I have a really, really pretty cool reproduction sax here, okay? So, hey, Jersey Knife Guy, how you doing? You got the Buck Frontiersman, nice. Yeah, you got to show that, man. You definitely got to show that. You got a great channel, dude. You got to show it. All right, so let me go over the specs real quick, and then we'll do a close-up. Okay, so the Viking Knives has the following dimensions. Now, this is in centimeters, so I just printed this out, and I didn't realize it wasn't in inches, but okay, it's not a big deal. So the knife length is approximately 42.5 centimeters. The blade length is 27.5 centimeters, and the blade width is approximately 3.5 centimeters. Blade's back, I guess that means thickness, 4.8 millimeters. The handle is made of a hardwood. Weight is approximately 417 grams. Knife sheath is 45 centimeters with elaborate brass processing. And the weight of the sheath is 181 grams, and the knife is made of a piece of steel forged by hand, 1095 steel, so each knife is unique. Now, again, I am going to actually show you the website of where I've got this knife from on Etsy, and I want to show you the other great pieces that they have, the other great saxes that they have. Really, really nice. Okay, so the handle is made of a hardwood pakka wood. Due to the conical handle, the knife fits very well in the hand. Knife with rich metal fittings were typical of the men's costume of the Viking Age in eastern Sweden. The long knife with an elaborately designed knife sheath, bath application supply. Okay, so I will, in the description section, comment section, convert the centimeters into inches. So, and I'll have both up there, centimeters and inches. But let's take a real quick look at this knife. Now, I don't know where this was made. You know, I at first, when I purchased this a few years ago, I thought it was made in Germany. Okay, because I was looking for a Sax, an authentic Sax, to complement a lot of my other collections of Viking weaponry. But I could never find anything authentic at a reasonable price until I found this guy on Etsy. His name of the store is Mac Messer, M-A-Q Messer, M-E-S-S-E-R, Mac Messer. And after I'm done showing this knife, I will go on the website because I really want to show you guys this. And then I want to point you to another site called Herstwick, which is a bunch of enthusiasts who came up with a website, and they explain a plethora of historical Norse and Viking facts. And it's pretty awesome. So I just want to share that with you guys. They also have a YouTube channel. Now, those guys, unfortunately, they haven't really updated their website in a while, and they stated, which is okay, but there's still plenty of really good information on there. But I digress. Let's get into the knife. So let's check this out. Okay, so it's supposedly 1095 steel. I have a feeling this is made in Pakistan, and if it's made in Pakistan, and this is just a guess, they did a damn good job. I don't know who did this, but they did a really damn good job. So this is somewhat historical type of a blade. Not all Saxes were, a broken back Sax. They have some historical pieces that they do have more of a spirit point type thing, type blade. This is a little bit different. I wouldn't doubt that there was some form of a Sax during that age that looks similar to this. Okay, but you could take a look. I don't think that the Vikings created this black feature over here, as you could see. I don't think they did that back then. I'm not sure 100%. This is a flat, it feels like a flat ground blade. It might have a little convex to it. Maybe slight. But you can see the bevel over here. Okay. And I personally, whoever made this knife, I thought it was made in Germany, but whoever made this knife, they did a pretty good job. All right. They did a pretty good job. It is 1095 steel, supposedly. It's pretty thick. It's not a thin blade, so it's nice and thick. And it tapers down pretty thin. Hey, Byron, how you doing? Cool, man. Cool, Byron. Lurk away, man. The handle is pretty awesome. Now, I don't know if the Vikings or the Norse bladesmiths use brass fittings. I'm not 100% sure. They might have. I guess depending on, if you could afford it, maybe they put some form of fittings on there. But this is apparently pakka wood, and it's pretty nice. I mean, this is something I would see somebody in the medieval ages, able to make. Simple, effective, and, more appropriately, cheap. Okay, because a lot of people back then, they couldn't afford a lot of weapons. The weapons of the day during those times were basically farm tools. And I was historically I was told that the Sax knife was all over the place. This is like one of their primary tools for the kitchen, the outdoors, etc., other than being a weapon of war. Now, the Sax does come in way many different sizes. But if you could take a look at that handle real quick before I move forward, it's beautiful, man. I don't know if they would have put these liners in here. It's possible they may have gotten elaborate. Maybe they would have done some carvings and stuff like that, because there are examples of some knives, some long saxes. The long sax is basically a short sword, okay? And they would break, and then instead of, I'm pretty sure nothing was thrown away back then, they would regrind the blade, the broken blade, and make it maybe a little bit shorter knife and use a different handle. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, Byron, you know. I'm sure they took a lot of broken swords, you know, because swords were very expensive to make back then, especially during the time of, especially during the time of the beginning of the Viking Age. But you know, the Viking Age historically was like, what is it, 1098 when they hit Lindisfarne, which was a church. I think it was that time, around that time. But the Vikings seem to have been around and moving around way before that, you know. You could see that being a harvester. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this could possibly be a tool to harvest fruits, vegetables, whatever they used to grow back then, you know. Who knows? You know, cut fish, you know, I get no doubt. But this particular model, as you could see, has some brass fittings that the maker made. Okay. Two different types of pakka wood, it looks like, and it gives it a nice contrast. It's got some red liners and a black center liner, okay? And it looks like this is where they cut it off over here. And then they have another brass fitting at the end with this circle. Now, historically, I don't know if they did that. I've seen pictures where they just had this end right over here, maybe have a little piece. I am not sure how far down the tang goes. You know, I'll show you in the picture. Hey, Samurai Bird, how you doing? I'll show you on the website of the Herstrick website how far down the tang goes, and it'll start like from here and then swoop down, taper down. So I'm not sure how they did this with this particular knife, but a very, very simple knife. There's nothing elaborate about this knife. You know, they didn't even use 1095 back then. I mean, they used to use some kind of like swamp bog, and there was some metals and minerals in it. They would collect it, and they would somehow get the steel out of it. And historically, some of these saxes were pattern welded, which was apparently a lot more money to do, you know, to make. So I'm sure that the people, or quote unquote peasants of the time, you know, maybe this is what they could afford, with a shield or an axe and a shield, or a spear and a shield. According to history, the spear and the axe were one of the most popular weapons that everybody practically owned during that time. Let's take a quick look at the sheath. I want to show you guys this sheath. This sheath was used on a belt, and it would hang off the person's belt, okay? And I doubt they had this belt loop. The guy put it there, you know, whoever made it created a belt loop, which is kind of nice, but not historically accurate as far as I know. So picture this without the belt loop, okay? And they would have it, you know, hanging from their waist for, you know, easy, you know, pulling out for close combat or whatever. Or this could have possibly even been their primary weapon. I know they had longer saxes than this one, short swords basically, but they used to carry it, you know, on their belts. So, and basically this is it, guys and gals. You know, this is the knife. This is a collector piece for me. Would I go outside and use it? If I bought another one, yeah. But as of right now, this is just a collector piece. And the good news is it wasn't that much money. I think I probably paid at the time, I don't know, less than $100 for this piece, believe it or not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to bring up the website and show you guys some other beautiful pieces that this guy has, and you know, share that with you. So let me see if I could just bring this up. Hopefully it'll look good on the screen. All right, let me just type in my password. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. I'll try and get that better over there. So I'm already at the guy's website. Let me fix this a little bit. He's on Etsy, all right? So you guys may want to hop on and take a look yourself, all right? And the guy's name is Mac Messer. Okay, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Mac Messer 786 on Etsy, all right? And I want to show you some of the other Saxes that this guy is selling, which are they're pretty nice. So at the time when I bought my Sax, I just want to get this into the video. When I bought my Sax, he didn't have as many of these Saxes available. He didn't. He just didn't. Now he just seems to have a ton of them. Okay, and this is the one that I purchased right here. This is it right here. Now, according to this guy, he's selling it for $61.84 plus shipping. I think I had paid a little bit more at the time because he had very few, but he was one of the very few guys that I found had very authentic Saxes. So if you guys want to take a look at this, he'll give you the style number. But you know, there's a search function that you can go on to and just pick Saxes on there. But this is the one that I have, as you could see. Okay, and it's really nice. It's really nice. Now, I want to show you some other ones over here that they have, which I think is a little bit more historically correct. Let me close this, make this smaller. Okay. Here's a pattern welded version of it, although this is Damascus, but basically they did have pattern welded versions of these knives back then, and I'm sure it was for more the more wealthier individual back then. All right, so here is another type of Sax. It almost looks like a drop point, but historically somewhat correct. Okay, as you could see that. Yeah, I love this one. And again, it's $60 for this plus shipping. You know, it's not bad. And this does come from Germany. Now, again, where he gets it from, I have no idea, but apparently they're hand forged. And if this is from Pakistan, then I have to admit they did a good job. All right, here's a Brokeback Sax, okay, which is what we're more familiar with. Okay, as you can see that's another beautiful piece. This one's a little bit more expensive, a little bit more ornate and elaborate, more brass on the leather work, as you could see. This one's about $95. Still not a bad price for $10.95 steel. You know what I mean? I don't think I would unless you were to buy a couple of them, I wouldn't recommend using them out in the field, although I'm sure it would work out fine. I don't know how long or how thick the tang is. This is definitely a stick tang. You know, is it full? Does it go all the way through the blade? I don't know. It's pretty rounded off. You could see that it's an oval shape handle. And when I try to put a magnet over here, I really couldn't feel anything, but that's throughout the whole thing. But just beware. I just want you guys to be aware of that. Now this Sax over here is pretty cool looking, but it has a fuller, which they didn't have fullers back then, but still, that doesn't matter. It's still a pretty good looking Sax that is available. You know, it's got a beautiful handle. Are you going to get the exact same one? I don't know, but the handle is still really, really nice. Hey, Gonzo, how you doing? Thanks for showing up, guys. Let's see what else they have. I mean, you guys should really take a look. Here's a beautiful Sax right here. Here's a beautiful Brokeback Sax. Okay, this is really, really, really nice with this particular handle over here. You can see that. It's gorgeous. You know, and again, reasonably priced, guys, for $10.95 steel. It's not bad. You know, this won't break the bank for you guys, and I'm sure you're paying for more of the brass, you know, the more ornate handle. So definitely take a look at this guy on Etsy. Here's a beautiful one. Here's a beautiful Brokeback Sax, a little bit more simpler. Looks like the leather is a little bit more simpler, not as ornate with the brass fittings, but you know, beautiful brokeback sacks and a beautiful handle, two-tone type color. I love it. It's really, 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 really nice. Let's see if there's anything else over here. He has a long sax, which is a long, basically a longer knife here, right here. Okay, it's a little bit longer. Okay, see if I can get you a better picture. Here we go. See that? That's pretty cool. It's a little bit longer. It's a drop pointish type of a sax, but a little bit longer for, I guess, close combat use. You know, maybe more on the battle side than on the everyday use side. But who knows? You know, I don't know how they used to do things back then. I guess if this is all you could afford, you may have used this to cut up your fish or your meats or whatever, doing work out in the field. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so basically that's the Etsy website. I want to show you another cool website if you guys are into history and learning more about Vikings. So there's this website called Herstwick. Some of you may or may not. Actually, that's not the website. That is the YouTube site that you can go to. And they have some podcasts and they also have some battle stuff. Let me see if I could get to the actual website. I had it up here. Let me look for it. Herstwick. So it's www.herstwick.org, HURSTWIC.org. And there's a table of contents that this comes up with, and you get a whole plethora of information and history based on what these guys came up with. And let me just go to, there's an arms and armor section, shipbuilding section, weapons section, combat section. They talk about shields, helmets, mail, swords, and here's the sacks. Okay, now check this out. Let me see if I could show you this up close. Look at that. Look at that sax right there. That's a reproduction, but very, very close to, you know, historical piece that they found in, you know, archaeological excavations. For example, like right here. Let me see if I can make this bigger on the screen, or maybe I could do this. Can I do this? Yes. There we go. You see that? That's an actual sax that they found. Okay. And this one doesn't look like it's broke back. You know, this one doesn't look like it's broke back. It could have been. Maybe the rust took off some of the steel. I'm not sure, but I like this setup right there. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, that is definitely, you know, a long sword. So if these guys couldn't afford a real battle sword, this was the next best thing to it. This is what they used for close combat. Okay, if their axe failed them, or if their what do you call it, spear failed them, you know. This is an example of some pattern welding. A lot of saxes were pattern welding, and you could see. Now the other sack that I showed you on that website looked more Damascus than pattern welding, but this is an example of the pattern welding over here, which is fantastic. Okay. Let's see. Here's another reproduction of a sax right over here, a little bit more ornate. Okay, as you could see, the handle looks a little bit nicer, more pattern welding. Definitely, guys, go take a look at this website. It's pretty cool. All right, and here is this right here, this picture right here is a detail from a historical pattern, and as you could see, all the pattern welding. Okay, obviously through the years, the blade was degraded, but you could still see the welding pattern in the blade, which I think is really cool. And here is some more examples of historical saxes that they excavated. All right, so, and they all came in different kinds, and here's an example of one that's not a broke back sax. It's completely spear point dish type unless that is a very, very long Seax over here, you know, broken back Seax that had just worn away. But it looks like, it kind of looks a little bit more like this, you know, except instead of this being so straight, maybe the steel was lifted up a little bit. I could be wrong though, you know, guys, I could be wrong. But very, very, very cool. Here's an example of how it would have been possibly worn. Let me see. Okay, there's a guard. This is an example of recreator, how he has the Seax slung on his belt. All right. Let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, here's a carving supposedly. Okay, and historically how they had the Seax slung across their belt. So that's pretty cool, you know. Again, this website, I love this website because it just shows so much history and detail. Here is a little battle scene, okay? These guys also try and recreate battle scenes. So here's a guy with just a Seax. This is not a sword. This right here is a Seax, okay? And apparently he got the upper hand on this other guy with the Dane axe. Okay, he's blocking it with his shield, and then he's using his close combat weapon to impale his opponent. So very, very cool website, you guys. You got to go take a look at this. Here's another combat picture right here. All right, where this guy, you know, he's got him by the head, by the neck, and he's just about ready to use his Seax to impale him over here. So definitely a close-up weapon of the time, and God only knows how they used it, you know. So here is an example. Here's an example of supposedly a Seax or sword that was made into a knife. Okay, they think that this piece was broken. So what they did was they carved an elaborate handle over here, as you could see, and then they had the smith or whoever grind down the blade into somewhat of a knife. And I don't know, does that look like a fuller to you guys? That almost looks like a fuller. You know, this is, according to these guys, it's not a reproduction. So very, very cool, you know, very cool website, guys. I recommend that you go to this website and check them out. And you can see they're showing a little bit more elaborate detail of the handle that was made from somebody who knew how to carve. And here is a little bit smaller Seax. Okay, this is probably more for utility type use, you know. And I'm sure, like some people have mentioned, it was used every day. This almost looks like it's pattern welded. So this Wareham Forge apparently created this reproduction knife, which is pretty cool. They also have this as reproduction, supposedly historical kitchen type knives, okay, that they recreated. Let's see what else is here that I could show you. Okay, well that's it. That's the page on the Seax from this website called Herstwick. Okay, and Herstwick also has a YouTube site, all right, where they have a whole bunch of videos. Now, they stopped making videos like 3 years ago. Why? I don't know. I don't know if, you know, if the group disbanded, if they just don't have the funding or whatever. But let's see if I can get you a little closer view. But it's got some interesting information. And there's some podcasts over here. These guys actually have some historical Viking swords, some relics. You know, I don't know how they got them. I don't care. But it's pretty awesome. So I would recommend that you guys also take a look at this stuff. And, you know, if you're interested in history and want to learn a little bit more about, you know, Vikings, the way they lived, you know, how, you know, what kind of clothes they wore, what they ate, what their diets were. This is a website that you want to go to, the YouTube website and the actual Herstwick website that they have created. Now, just be warned, and they even say it here, that a lot of the information on here may be outdated. You know, it's been years, I guess, since they updated this. So they do specify that. So keep on doing your research. You know what I mean, guys and gals? All right, cool. So let's get back to this knife. All right. As you could see, I probably forgot to mention, as you could see, some of the brass fittings. This is not an elaborate leather sheath, but that's okay, you know. And here's that knife. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little 30-minute review of my my Seax. You know, this is a really nice piece. If you guys are ever interested, hit me up, and I will, you know, I will point you to the right website to go check these out. I'll include them. Hey, how you doing, Zephyro? I'll include the link to all these sites in the description in the comment section. So, but yeah, man, I wanted to share this with you guys. Let's take one last look before we get out of here, because I know that you guys are busy. But check it out, man. It's a beauty. It's definitely beautiful. You know, it's a great piece. It's definitely a nice piece. You know what? I didn't show you how nice this was. There's no snaps over here. If you were to carry it on your belt, you know, the guy was nice enough to put this little strap over here, and look how he did it. It's just pretty cool. You know, you know what? Let me put the knife in here. So the knife goes in here like that. It fits nice and snug, and then you just take this leather piece and you put it through the hole. It's kind of hard to do it while looking at the camera. Hold on a second, guys and gals. There we go. And it just, you know, I guess with the friction of the leather, it just stays in. It's not the greatest thing. I wouldn't go shaking it around, but, you know, and again, it was held on the belt like this. It's pretty cool, you know, and it's a welcome addition to the collection of Viking and Norse cutlery that I own and have, you know. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. Something a little bit different, you know, than something a little different than just all those knives that I have. So, all right. So, troops, you know, I appreciate you guys, those who did show up. You know, let me know what you guys got in your pocket again. I want to bring awareness to everybody. Hashtag 22 a day. Hashtag 22 a day no more. There are veterans and active military that want to come out of the service. They face a lot of challenges, and unfortunately, one of these challenges is suicide. So I'm going to leave in the comment section, the description section, links to phone numbers and websites, and a heartfelt message from a Vietnam veteran named Martin Miller. He's a Legionnaire on this channel. Please read his message, you know, because I know maybe sometimes you don't want to hear it from the civilians, but Martin Miller was a Vietnam veteran from 66 to 69. He has been there, he's done that, and he has gone through possibly what you have gone through and was able to get help for himself. So there is hope, you know what I mean? And your family loves you guys and gals, and we want you to stick around. And, you know, again, I'll leave all this stuff in the comments and description section. So, again, I appreciate everybody. Those who did stop by, thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable and precious. And, you know, I appreciate that you shared it with me and checking out my videos. You guys really, really rock. For those who didn't show up, it doesn't matter. You know, take a look at the video, comment below, like, share, and subscribe. You know, and I really appreciate you guys. I plan on doing some more of these Viking type videos, so just stay tuned for that, for the lives. And, you know, I appreciate everybody. All right, guys? All right, at the ready, folks. Hold the line. Take care. Bye-bye.